What's up, Peach? If y'all could just share this video really quick, we'll greatly appreciate it. Want to make sure everybody can hear me. Jesus Zamora, what's going on? What's going on? David Moshella, hey, it's Ali. What's going on? Kung Fu Platypus, Tyra N. What's going on? Robert Tierney, Dana Fairbanks, what's going on? So, while we're waiting for everybody to get into the chat, wow, that's weird. It says only 2 people are watching, even though like 5 people or 6 people just responded. But while we're waiting for everybody to get into the chat, I'm going to answer some Q Bounty questions. In case you're curious, Q Bounty, QBounty.com, which is QBOUNTI.com. It's basically like a super chat, but you know, I'm not always live streaming, and maybe you have a question that comes right to your mind where you want you don't want to forget the question, or maybe I'm not even covering that topic that day, so you don't want to ask it on a different topic. You can actually go to QBounty.com. They have different tiers that you can use, and you can actually ask questions to me like you would be super chatting, but I would answer them like during a live stream. Sometimes I do a separate video. It just depends. So the first question I'm gonna ask or answer is from an anonymous person, and they asked me, do I think Hassan Piker should be banned from YouTube? Actually, or excuse me, not from YouTube, but from Twitch, not YouTube. My apologies. No, I actually don't think that. What he said was kind of cringy, but I am pretty firm in my belief of not allowing censorship and outrage culture to guide our political discourse. I do think it gave us an opportunity. For those of you who are curious, Hassan Piker said that America deserved 9/11, and of course that is a bit insensitive. I do understand his overall point, which is that it was the actions of the American or the United States government that allowed, or even by some people's estimations, caused 9/11 and caused the innocent lives in the World Trade Center to be lost. And so that's why he's asking, and Twitch banned him for, I don't know I think the ban is temporary, but I think they should have given him a warning. I just don't really believe in banning just because you say, I mean, some people say some absurd stuff on Twitch, right? But I don't believe in censorship. I believe that was an opportunity for us to explain to him how he could have better presented his argument, because he was arguing against American imperialism in that video, and I get it, but we have like a missed opportunity, like, because even with this question, not that I'm mad at the question because it's a good question, but like now we're arguing, should he have been censored or should he have not been censored, or should he have been banned or should he have not been banned? But instead we could have been digging deeper into what he meant by that, like addressing the fact that Saudi Arabia is currently in federal courts dealing with lawsuits because of their connection to 9/11 as we speak. Why were we in Afghanistan instead of in Saudi Arabia's name was never mentioned by our U.S. Public officials, despite the fact that we know that Osama was a CIA asset and was part of the Saudi Arabian royal family? Why aren't we talking about the fact, I mean, you know, terrorist attacks happen, and these people are radicalized because of the fact that we go to Afghanistan and did not have a standing army, wipe out hundreds of thousands of people, of innocent people, never step foot in Saudi Arabia, never talk about Pakistan, and yet we found Osama in Pakistan a known, which is a known harbor of terrorists and terrorist organizations, right? So we could have been having that conversation, but because Twitch banned him, now we have to argue about censorship or have a discussion about censorship instead. So I do believe we missed an opportunity there. I'm gonna answer one more before we get started. Do you think Netflix will ever pick up a progressive show? Should they or would they water a progressive down? Ever watch the Patriot Act with Hassan Minaj? Ooh, that was smooth. You asked 2 questions in one. I'll do you a favor this time. And I'm gonna answer both questions, but you can't be sneaky like that. You get 1 question to chat. All right, peace. So, do I think they would ever pick up a progressive show? Yes, because if you ever watch the untold history of the United States, woo, man, that's good God, man. That's like a Gatling gun of truth bombs. It's like, man, you start watching Untold History of the United States, you might fuck around and become an extremist out here, okay? You might get radicalized after you might become a true nihilist if you watch Untold History of the United States. It's by Oliver Stone. Now, if you're asking what they allow a truly progressive television show, or like a series by like a commentator, I think that it could be possible. But I actually am on a platform that is currently growing as we speak. It's called Rockfin. It's ROKFIN. And it's similar to Netflix, but it's so... You know how you obviously Netflix is like the gold standard at this point because of just what they did. And that's kind of how a lot of people feel about maybe Spotify or Apple Music. Well, you know how Tidal was like a disruptor there. Tidal is Jay-Z's streaming platform. And it is actually, it's like a co-op, I guess. I mean, that's the best way I can think of to describe it. Because the artists have more control over their music, over their content. They get paid the lion's share of the profits from the platform, and so that's what I would compare Rockfin to. So Rockfin is up and coming. It's very similar to Netflix and Hulu. It has its comedy, but like they have independent journalists on there as well. So they have professionals, like they have professional athletes teaching like your MMA classes and wrestling, and they have professional comedians on there. They do their stand-ups for them, and they have some premium content as well. Then they have the independent journalists like myself, Graham Elwood, The Convo Couch, Ron Placone's on there as well. They're currently in talks with Jimmy Dore. So definitely go to rockfin.com, ROKFIN, because I can't really speak for Netflix outside of like the Oliver Stone series that I saw and a couple of other things, but I can speak for Rockfin, and they are openly courting progressive journalists and independent journalists because they do believe that is like the next big market that could be taken advantage of. So those are the 2 Q Bounty questions that I'm going to answer today on here. I'll answer some more later, for sure. But I just wanted to knock some of those out. And if you want to ask me a question, I'll type this once again. There, qbounty.com, QBOUNTI.com. And if you're watching after the video started, then I'll go ahead and put it in the description. So I do want to go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. So, in case you have not been keeping up, which I'm sure most of you have, Tulsi Gabbard has been kept off the debate stage. And there's been a lot of arguments, finger pointing, blame game, etc., etc., etc. And even within the progressive movement, there's been a little bit of divisiveness. And I think it's natural, at least in this particular instance. And the reason why is because, well, you have people like Emma Vigilant basically celebrating the fact that Tulsi is being kept off the debate stage, knowing that it's a rigged process, knowing that eventually that process will be rigged against Bernie, and that it would be wise to start putting pressure on the DNC now to do the right thing. Even if like I said yesterday, I mean, I actually like Marianne Williamson, but I would say it's not even just about Tulsi. Marianne Williamson is being kept off the debate stage as well. And it's because of polling. Because of these polls, that the DNC approved. In a lot of the case, they're not even polling them. Like I just did a video yesterday, you all saw. New Hampshire, University of New Hampshire is one of the DNC approved polling companies, and they can't even afford to conduct the poll. They told a supporter, if you're going to give us $50,000, then we'll do it for you. So in other words, it's ridiculous. But Nina Turner and Susan Sarandon have done what a lot of people have been waiting for anybody in the Bernie camp to do, which is come to the defense of the woman who put it all on the line to endorse not only Bernie Sanders, but the progressive movement, and not only endorse Bernie Sanders and endorse the progressive movement, but has ultimately risen to be a strong leader who's displayed a lot of conviction. And she has become a figurehead in the progressive movement as well. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. I want y'all to see this. One second. But I was actually surprised that Susan Sarandon said something. And not because Susan Sarandon doesn't have like integrity. That's not why I was surprised. I was more surprised just because Susan hasn't really said anything about Tulsi. Not that she doesn't like her, I'm sure, but it just seemed like she was really just kind of focusing on Bernie and focusing on that stuff. And it's not that I have an issue with it, but it's like, damn, at a certain point, somebody got to say something, right? Somebody got to say something. Let me get this straight. Give me 1 second. There we go. Boom, boom. All right, so Michael Tracy put out a great tweet yesterday. He said, a reminder, if the DNC simply accepted polls conducted by the two largest newspaper in two critical early primary states, New Hampshire and South Carolina, Tulsi would have qualified for the next debate. Their quote-unquote rules make no sense, and that's why people are rightly cynical about their absurd exclusion. And Susan Sarandon quote tweets it and writes, Tulsi Gabbard deserves to be on that debate stage. We need her voice. Can I just say really quick, was that too much? Was that too much? Was that a lot to say? I just have this, I got this theory that like when you have the right combination of integrity and conviction and objectivity, but mostly the other two, right? Because sometimes you can have a lot of integrity and a lot of conviction, but your subjectivity kind of like can cloud both. But if you have enough integrity, you have enough conviction, some things you just cannot stand for. You cannot allow to happen without speaking up about it. Like, you just can't. This is one of those situations. If you have any iota of integrity, any conviction for your integrity, then you would absolutely have to speak out. Like, you could not let this fly. Susan Sarandon, the same woman who is still under attack because she has so much integrity, so much conviction that she could not endorse vote for, campaign for, in any way, form, or fashion for Hillary Clinton. She instead, as Nira Tandon attacked her about, she instead campaigned for and endorsed and fought for Jill Stein. That's the type of... So, like, these are the allies. Copernicus Thinker, thanks for the super chat. All 160,000 of Tulsi's donors should email the DNC. 100% agree. I am... Like, this is what an ally looks like. This is an ally. And I honestly can't understand how people still can't tell the difference between an ally within the progressive movement and an opportunist within the progressive movement. See, there are a lot of people who are allies that I do not always agree with. And the opportunists say things that you'll almost always agree with because that's what good opportunists, they opportune. They take advantage of opportunity. They read the field. They read the play on the field, and they say whatever they have to get the followers, to get the likes, to get the clicks, to get the subscribers, to get you on their side. And then they will, when the time is opportune, they will capitulate to wherever the paycheck tells them to. And that's the fact. Now, I want to show y'all what Nina had to say about her dear friend. Oops. Hope everybody's having a good morning, by the way. We have a hurricane coming to Miami, so I don't know how much power I'm going to have over the next couple of days. So I got to knock out a bunch of stuff today. So Nina had to say this. So let me give some context really quick. So this is a tweet that was actually responding to a pretty incendiary post from Ro Khanna, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But Nina replied to this. So JP Momo of 5 said, I'm discouraging this. A war between Bernie and Tulsi supporters isn't going to move progressive policy forward. 100% agree on that. Why is it Bernie and Tulsi can get along, but their supporters are fighting amongst themselves? Well, like I said, that's the difference between opportunists and those with integrity, right? She goes on to say, we need to knock this off, please. We need Tulsi and Bernie. Nina responds with, agreed. There is no need for this foolishness. And that's exactly what it is. We need to focus. Tulsi Gabbard and I were on the grind together in 2015 and 2016 for Bernie Sanders. And we are still friends to this day. Now, now mind you, here's where this one gets a little more interesting. Because if you just look at that tweet in a vacuum, it looks like, okay, she's just defending her friend. But if you go up this list, or if you go up this thread, this is in response to Ro Khanna responding to an article. This person, Pieter Friedrich, finally blocked me. But Ro Khanna responded to an article that was a literal smear of Tulsi, saying that she's connected to Hindutva, RSS, right-wing nationalists. That's what the article said. Mind you, this is somebody that myself and Pasta in California debunked in real time, not once, but twice. This man is, and like I said, he blocked me. His name is Pieter Friedrich. He's a Hindu-phobic homophobe. He is literally insane. I don't know what's wrong with the dude. There's something wrong with his head. But he tried to make the claim that Tulsi at the time, which was in February, had $200,000 in donations from right-wing Hindu nationalists. Boy, I laughed my ass off, because what he didn't know is that I know Tulsi's finance guy. And we had just got done joking about the fact that Like Tulsi couldn't hire anybody. You know, she had hired maybe 2 people, 3 people at the most at that point, because she just started her campaign and she was trying to get off the ground. And so most of the people who helped out with the campaign at that point were volunteers. Now, at the same time that they're broke, the campaign did not have that much money. This guy Peter Friedrich is claiming that these right-wing Hindu nationalists gave $200,000 to Tulsi. So I said, "Hey man, I just endorsed this candidate. So maybe you should show me this paperwork. You know, show me the receipts of this." "Oh, well, I don't have it on me." "What do you mean you don't have it on you? He had hundreds of dollars in anti-Tulsi, anti-RSS, anti-BJP literature, posters, like print. I mean, I'm professional stuff. You got everything except for the one document proving that she's connected to these organizations that you're claiming she's connected to. You have everything except for the one thing that would validate your entire premise, which is that Tulsi takes money from these people, and a lot of it." So Pasta debunked him on camera. Then they follow her and these people have gotten so hostile, by the way. This guy leading the pack, Peter Friedrich, this guy leading the pack to the point where the police had to get involved with this man and his protesters because they were getting that hostile, getting in people's faces, etc., etc., etc. Then they follow her to San Francisco at the Democratic convention there. And they didn't know Pasta and I were there as well. So, you know, me and Pasta, whoop, whoop, whoop. Man, what's up, bro? I'm glad we ran into you, because I've been meaning to ask you. You get that information that you had supposedly had that prove that Tulsi took $200,000 from right-wing Hindu nationalists this election cycle. "Oh, well, nah, we forgot it." You forgot it twice? How you forget it twice, homie? You're making a pretty incendiary claim, and you forgot once again the information that would literally verify or at least give some type of legitimacy to the claim that you just made, and you forgot the information again? Yeah, probably not buying it, homie. So this guy, Peter Friedrich, Ro Khanna, knowing the article was specifically about Tulsi, responded with, "Important article. It is the duty of every American politician of Hindu faith to stand for pluralism, reject Hindutva, and speak for equal rights for Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Christians. That is the vision of India my grandfather Amarnath Vidyalankar fought for." Now, some of you might, well, no, I mean, maybe he was just commenting. No. Because it's bad enough that you are propagating a Hindu-phobic douchebag, a homophobic douchebag, but you're responding under Tulsi's post, an ad under Tulsi's post. So you haven't fixed your lips one time to defend Tulsi in any capacity, like you defended Warren, like you defended others. But the one time you want to come under Tulsi's post, an ad promoting her presidential campaign, it is to propagate the smears of a Hindu phobe that are attacking Tulsi. And so that's why I love the fact that Nina comes in the way she does, because she came in response to a tweet addressing that person. Why is this important? For those of you who do not know, Ro Khanna is a co-chair of Bernie Sanders' campaign. Guess who the other co-chair is? Nina Turner. As you can see, Ro Khanna's opinion is not emblematic of the rest of the higher ups at at Bernie's camp. At least, especially not the other co-chair, which is most important. In other words, Nina Turner and Ro are probably at odds here. And it's not the first time. I'm sure Nina has no personal beef with Warren, but I'm pretty positive she knows that Warren is a snake, just like everybody else who's been paying attention for more than 6 months. And for her to come out and say, me and Tulsi were fighting for Bernie in 2015, 2016, that's why I take it as, right? Me and Tulsi have been in this progressive movement. We have been doing this. We have been putting our careers on the line. We sacrificed our careers to endorse Bernie, whereas you have been pushing your own career agenda. So how dare you come at my friend trying to split the progressive movement, trying to split Bernie Sanders and Tulsi supporters. So that's why I feel like that message is so important coming from Nina, because once again, although she did not respond to Tulsi or to Ro directly, I just showed you the thread. I can go back to it if you want. I'll show you the thread again. There was nothing else. What else was she responding to? This whole thread isn't between Bernie and Tulsi supporters. These are Tulsi supporters all responding to Ro Khanna for being disingenuous. So, in my opinion, that is, I mean, for me, it like made me happy when I saw that. When somebody sent that, it made me extremely, I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, Nina. Y'all know how I feel about Auntie Nina. Nina is just, whoo, man, I love Nina. I wish more politicians had Nina Turner, like had the Nina Turner in them, had the Susan Sarandon in them, had that Tulsi Gabbard in them. This is one thing that, like, and it's crazy, right? It's just, as you know, it's somewhat off subject, but let me just say, it's sad because the Susan Sarandons, the Nina Turners, and the Tulsi Gabbards, the men will never get behind them and what they stand for the same way they have gotten behind that man Bernie Sanders. And it's really sad. It really is. And I know a lot of the women have recognized this. Some men have recognized this, but I want you, eventually, it's going to be Nina's turn to be in the position that Tulsi is in right now. And there's going to be, no offense to my white fellas out there, but there's going to be some white guy that swears they can do it better than Nina, or it might even be Ro Khanna one day. And when that day comes, and she's going through what Tulsi is going through right now, I hope that people are as ferocious about getting behind her like they are about getting behind Bernie Sanders. These women they demonstrated the conviction, especially Tulsi and Nina, who are politicians, that the men in politics that are progressive had no balls to do. Nina reminds me of my mother. If I had an older sister, Tulsi would remind me, like Tulsi reminds me of my sister. My sister's and my older sister. But she does remind me of my older cousin, who was like a sister to me. Just that level of conviction to do the right thing and not wait for somebody to tell them to do it. That cannot be, and it's not a coincidence, by the way. I don't think that it's a coincidence that Bernie's strongest supporters outside of Cornel West, outside of Killer Mike, in politics, his strongest supporters, ironically enough, are women. I say ironically because the ones who hate him the most are also women. In 2016, though, the two politicians that came out swinging for him, that had the foresight to see where the election was going, and that had the conviction to call out the DNC, were both strong women of color. One sacrificed her Senate seat in Ohio. The other one sacrificed her career, like I say, and I will never stop saying this. Van Jones said it himself. He's a party insider. Said it himself. Tulsi, you were going to be the anointed queen of the Democratic Party. And you gave all that up to endorse Bernie Sanders. So I will forever be impressed at the conviction of those like Tulsi, Nina, and Susan Sarandon. And for those of you, by the way, who take such issue with men, particularly young men, speaking up and supporting Tulsi, in my case, in some other people's cases, young men who support Tulsi over Bernie, if your response to that is, oh, well, it's because she's cute, it's because you think you're a sexist prick. If the idea that young men can idolize and respect a woman as president, the most qualified candidate, the only one who can actually from day one come in and do both jobs, the commander-in-chief position and the president, if that shows how insecure you are. And it probably shows that you probably think Tulsi's cute, and your own insecurity is you project on the others. Because you can't think of a legitimate reason to not like her. Because you know all the good she's done for the progressive movement. So instead of just acknowledging that and moving on, you have to attack everybody with sexist comments about how they only like Tulsi because she's cute, because she's gorgeous, because she's young. Nah, it's because she's an amazing progressive. And if you wouldn't say something like that about Tulsi or about Bernie, why in the hell would you say something like that about a woman candidate? I want to answer these last couple of super chats. Big Irv, thanks for the super chat. You had a lot of four-letter words when you explained this yesterday. I did. I had no problems. I had absolutely no problems when I was streaming to Twitch. And I was actively watching out for this. I had zero problems when I was streaming to Twitch. All the problems in the world when I streamed to YouTube. So at first I thought maybe it's my internet. But I'm like, why do I never have problems when I'm streaming to Twitch or when I'm streaming to Periscope? And every time I have a problem with YouTube, it seems like it's always whenever I bring up a certain name, bring up a certain subject, bring up a certain topic, etc., etc., etc. You think that's coincidence? Who knows? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. If you want me to answer your Q Bounty question, go to qbounty.com and I will answer that. I'll put it in the description for those of you who may be watching after, but it's qbounti.com. And you can just go ask me a super chat question, even though I'm not live, and I will answer it either on a live stream or in a separate video. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.